Hi. Hello there. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Richard Bates, and recently I've conducted a statistical study involving the throwing of balls. What exactly is this study, you may ask? Well, I will tell you. What I wanted to know was, do people throw balls farther with the right hand? Or, I meant dominant hand, usually right hand, not for everyone, or with their non-dominant hand. This I wanted to find out. First, I wanted to research what information was already out there. What I found? Really not that much. I assume that it's because most people assume that people automatically throw balls farther with their dominant hand, therefore there is no need to conduct any research on such a topic. Well, here I am to conduct that research. I have to verify this. What I did find out, however, is that people tend to react more quickly with their dominant hand than their non-dominant hand. This may or may not be a factor in throwing performance, whether the reaction time is related to the coordination of the corresponding hand or not. Something like that. And now I'm going to describe to you how I actually performed this incredible test. I randomly chose 15 people, yes, people, to perform this test outside of our high school. I ordered each of these people to throw a tennis ball twice, first with their dominant hand and second with their non-dominant hand. I recorded each distance and found the difference of these distances. Using that data, I was able to perform a matched pairs t-test. Picture number 1. Test subject number 14 is holding the tennis ball with his dominant hand. Picture number 2. He must keep both feet placed firmly on the ground, in other words, not stepping forward, and he must use an overhand throw while throwing the tennis ball. Picture number 3. The tennis ball has been thrown. And finally, picture number 4. The tennis ball has finally landed on the ground, and I measured the distance in which it has been thrown. Then I take the tennis ball back to the thrower and make him do it all over again with his non-dominant hand. Well, I guess I should share with you my results. Hold on. Here, well, the null hypothesis was there is no difference in the throwing distances between the dominant hand and the non-dominant hand. The alternate hypothesis was the throwing distance of the dominant hand is greater than the throwing distance of the non-dominant hand, which is probably what most people assume. Okay, hold on. Here are some graphical representations of the data that I collected. Here are the individual throwing distances. Dominant hand right here. Non-dominant hand right here. As you can see, they follow a fairly normal shape. The center of the dominant hand is at around 23 meters, and the center for the non-dominant hand is at around, it's smaller, it's around 20 meters, I would say. Now, if you look at this graph, it's colorful, and it also has a normal shape, and it has a fairly good spread to it. And as you can see, it's the difference in the throwing distances between the dominant hand and the non-dominant hand. And the center is at about 2.7 meters. In other words, the throwing distance of the dominant hand was about 2.7 meters on average greater than the throwing distance of the non-dominant hand. I'm confusing myself. Here we go. After a lot of messing around with formulas and such, I determined that there was a p-value of approximately 0.00003. Oh yeah, that's a pretty small p-value there. And since the p-value is smaller than the alpha level that I used of 0.05, I said that I will reject the null and that there is no difference in the throwing distances between the dominant and non-dominant hand, and that I will accept the alternate that the throwing distance of the dominant hand is greater than the throwing distance of the non-dominant hand. Shabam! If I were to perform this test all over again, I would definitely choose a lot less of a distracting environment in which to place my test subjects in. Preferably not a high school parking lot. There were a lot of cars and people walking by, and it was very distracting. In conclusion, this test has helped to prove that people actually do throw balls farther with their dominant hand than their non-dominant hand. Just as I thought. And what implications does it have on you guys? Well, I'll tell you. If you ever have any confusion at all on whether throwing with your dominant hand or non-dominant hand makes a difference in your throwing distance, I want you to know that it does. Please throw with your dominant hand. It might be a key tactic in any sports that you may play. Believe me, it will help. Well, that's about it. I'm done. I hope you learned something. Bye.